Does anyone need to pee or grab water?
I'm gonna grab some water because I drank all mine.
I remember way the fuck back in high school during like the original 1X. I think it was either Sean or Ben Brizendine had a thing of milk and they pulled it out. I was like, I don't know how long this has been in my backpack. Do you guys want to smell it? And you're like, yes.
Of course, yeah. Which obviously, yes. In that situation,
I did.
It was very bad.
I did buy like a bottle of Nesquik. I can't remember if I bought it at school in high school or if I got it at like the gas station. Like they're the yellow bottle that you can't see through.
Yeah.
And I like shook it, cracked it open, took a swig, and it was not fresh. So then I spat it out, closed it back up, and like peeled the like plastic label off, and I could see through it, and it was all like fucking chunky.
So you would say that of that year, that might have been one of your biggest surprises?
It was.
Welcome back,
ladies
folks.
and gentlemen.
So
here we are for the biggest surprises.
Nesquik,
2021.
please sponsor us.
Nesquik, please sponsor us. Biggest surprise is originally when we started doing this, we had worst game of the year, which was, like this was the shittiest fucking thing we played. Within a few years of doing that, though, we realized that we needed to delineate the difference between the worst game and a disappointment. Disappointments then became really relevant as we stopped just playing fucking shitty games, and we have dropped the category of worst game because we can't fill it out anymore. But not to be too negative, because that's not what this is about. We want to take the inverse of the most disappointing, and we want to talk about the thing that was just a pleasant surprise. And
mine aren't all pleasant, but they're all surprising.
That's what letdown's for. Letdowns for bad surprises.
I mean, not all the letdown's not always a surprise, though.
I guess.
Yeah,
I guess you're right.
Some people also just don't like surprises.
That's true. Some people don't like them, but
like I've played a few games sometimes where it's like, I know this is going to be bad, but I'm still going to play it. And then I played it. I was like, oh yeah, I was going to let down.
And I'll open with my downer one too, so it'll be happy the rest of the time.
And inevitably speaking,
So
though,
skip
we always
to this
end up with
timestamp.
I'm gonna put that Dash. Put that timestamp on screen. I bet he just typed in fucking no.
I bet he didn't even edit this, and it never came out.
Dash from 2 years in the future, edit this.
But my number 3 is something that I'm honestly a little surprised it's on my surprises, or I'm a little surprised that it charted. But something about, look, I'm gonna level with you. The Metroid 2 remake didn't do it for me. I didn't like it really. I think I might have even sold it. Yeah, I don't even own that game anymore because I don't think it's particularly good.
Shocked that you still sell games.
Nintendo games hold value, baby.
Yep.
So I also, in the year of our Lord 2021, you're spoiled for choice for playing good Metroidvanias. Like, there's so many good Metroidvanias coming out.
That's the indie trend right now.
There's some bad ones too.
There's some bad ones, but like there's still a ton of great ones. So the idea of like bringing Metroid back, it's like I'm not even sure if I really give a shit. And then when you hire the studio that made the really bad Castlevania Mirror of Fate game, and like a studio with no track record who did the Metroid 2 remake, to do your flagship new Metroid game. I remember very distinctly, like shortly before that game's release, going like, do I give a shit? Like, am I even gonna fucking care? Is this even gonna be good? And boy, fucking howdy was I wrong. That is the other spirit of this category, is all the times you were completely fucking wrong.
Yeah.
I was very skeptical of Metroid Dread. Also, that it's Metroid Dread, the fucking Metroid game that they announced like 16 fucking years ago. A direct sequel to Metroid Fusion. What the fuck? They made the best Metroid game that's ever been made. Like, full stop. I don't know. I have no idea how they did it. But they somehow did. It is not only the best game the studio has ever produced, the Spanish Mercury Stream people, but they literally made the best Metroid game that has ever existed.
They had 16 years, so something good was bound to come of it.
And like the thing that I think is even cooler is like you see the things that they took from the Metroid 2 remake, but they made them all good. Like the melee kind of parry thing was the thing they introduced in the Metroid 2 remake. And it's, while it sucked shit in that, it's incredible in this. Everything about the game just feels so much better. Like the Metroid 2 remake just felt like a warm up to get to this point. And if that game had to suck for this game to be as good as it is, it's completely worth it. So yeah, I gotta say thank you, Mercury Stream, or Mercury Steam, Mercury.
I think it's Stream.
Whatever.
Pretty sure it's
Soda Stream.
Sodas, thank you, Soda Stream.
Please sponsor us.
I thought you were gonna make a real piece of shit Metroid game, but you actually in fact did the best Metroid game, and that is extremely surprising to me.
It's Mercury Steam.
Mercury Steam, Mercury, like
I'm
Gabe
surprised they
Newell.
haven't. Yeah, I was gonna say surprised Valve hasn't tried to sue him yet.
Their Mercury branch, their planetary branch. Ryan, what is your number 3 thing that is apparently a disappointment but is actually a surprise?
Yeah.
Surprised he was sad
It's kind
about
of
it.
it's an ongoing development too, and I'm becoming less surprised with it.
Sable.
Oh God, it's
No,
AIDS.
but right off the bat, it was
Hold on, did we go a whole category without Ryan mentioning Sable?
we did.
That's surprising.
I finally have a third surprise.
It was loot boxes being replaced with NFTs. I did not think that there was going to be such a wholehearted, like, it makes sense because now it's a thing that people are going to try to do to make a bunch of money really quickly. But for some reason, I thought it would go around the video game stuff. I'm like, surely it doesn't make sense in this space.
I really hate it for like, it's like, I hate the NFT stuff to begin with. And fortunately, all of like the actual game developers, not like game marketing people, also think it's fucking stupid.
Well, yeah, but that's why it continues to be more surprising, is because it's like
the mind.
So much backlash to it constantly. And then they're like, well, this game has NFTs now. And it's like, literally a day ago, there was so much backlash that these people backed up on it. Why are you trying it now?
Valve
Troy
tried
Baker,
this
why are
already.
you getting in on it?
Valve
What if
already
they don't
did
get
this.
mad at us?
They did it 10 years ago. You could put your TF2 hats on your Portal, guys.
That's all you need.
It doesn't need to be on the fucking blockchain. It can be handled with a fucking SQL table. Like, what the fuck?
Valve proven once again they're
Valve
above the
ahead of the
grid.
time. Like,
Yeah.
I hate it so much. There's no, like, whatever.
It is surprising that there are people this stupid still in the industry trying things.
I hate it. And it's always going to be something. It's always going to be some new dumb thing. Whatever. Fuck. Fuck.
But no more downer stuff from me after that.
Hunter, what is your number 3? Is it
I only have-
fungible?
No, it's Ryan didn't mention Sable in a category.
That's a good surprise. I
I
was
only
quite
had-
surprised.
I could only think of 2, and I was like, maybe.
Okay,
I could
Hunter's
do it.
number 3 most surprising thing is Pokemon Unite. Jason, what's your number 3?
Yeah, you know what? Sure.
So I would say I'm rarely surprised because I don't branch out very much. So there aren't
Big
many
brain.
games. There aren't many games that like each year that can surprise me that, oh, I didn't know I would like this thing. Because I usually only play games that I think I'm gonna like going into it. But every once in a while I take a stab at something. But so my number 3 was a game that I have played one sitting of. It was free, but it was pretty enjoyable. It was Operation Tango.
Yeah.
It was a silly little co-op game that was only co-op online. I mean, it's like an expansion of Bomb Game.
Yeah, it's like the same theory behind Bomb Game.
But yeah, it's just a game where like me and Dash played it just like the day it came out or the weekend it came out.
It was like a
one
PS
sitting.
Plus game or something.
Yeah, it was like maybe 3 hours of gameplay.
Like 5 levels.
But yeah, it's just like the two of you can see different things the whole time, and you have like sometimes you get separated and you have to like look at a map to describe to the other person where they need to go, like looking through security cameras. and like controlling security cameras to help them not get caught and like avoid sensors. But I mean, it looked like when they launched it, like, oh, that could be nothing at all. But it popped up on PS Plus at launch, so we both downloaded it and played it, and it was pretty enjoyable. Like, I don't need to ever touch it again.
Yeah,
And it didn't. It had its flaws, but it was
last
overall
level
pretty
really
fun.
sucks.
The last level really sucks if you're a big old baby.
Fuck you, that thing sucks.
If
was
you're
a bad level.
if you're a big old baby that gets a tummy ache if the frame rate drops.
Look, no, it wasn't just the fucking frame rate. It was like what was the puzzle of that? Nobody knows.
The last level wasn't fun. But it didn't. But I didn't. You got to the point of you almost had to stop playing because
It was
making
so
you
fucking
sick.
bad, man. I envy you. You have no idea. I am jealous. But yeah, it's games like that makes me. I wish there was like a cooler way to call out like really good PS Plus or like Game Pass games that people can just kind of get on for free. Because like no one's gonna fucking play that game in history will forget it. But it was still really enjoyable, and I think it was good, and I wish more people would have played it. Like I think It Takes Two. It's not quite the same thing, but it's in terms of like the asymmetrical co-op experience. I think kind of like hits home on it a lot more. But it's like I had a really good time with that game.
And I mean,
Glad I played it.
it's also, yeah, it's like one it's tough for people to go play because it's co-op only and online co-op only because you can't see each other's like screens.
Yeah.
So you have to thread a pretty small needle to
Mhm.
And
be able to link up and play it.
it was free at a time when no one could get PlayStations.
Yeah.
So bummer.
Wait, was
You
it
mean
5
right
exclusive?
now?
Yeah, it was 5 exclusive, I think.
Yep.
Shame.
And yeah, because it came out like maybe a month or I guess not more than that, but it was pretty
like
early
February,
21. Yeah, it
something.
was like
Rip
January or
Operation
February this
Tango.
year of 21.
Yeah, it's cool game.
Well,
very pleasant
Operation
surprise.
Tango's on Steam now, at least.
Oh, that's good.
So, it's got that.
You know what
You and Zane can play it and yell from each other's rooms.
Land
I mean, we
Party
could,
Operation
but-
Tango. The Avengers. Have you heard of them? Heard
No.
of these guys?
Oh, those was like that British team. Of
Yeah, the spy
who
people.
fought stuff. Yeah.
The people what made the Tomb Raider made an Avengers game in 2020, I want to say. That was fucking horrible. Absolute dog shit. Holy fucking goddamn, this game sucked. It lost Square Enix millions of dollars.
That's really funny, by the way.
Certifiable failure from every single like angle. So obviously, when that same team, Crystal Dynamics, specifically it's the Deus Ex end of yes, it is the Deus Ex. The people who do the new Deus Ex, they decided to do a Guardians of the Galaxy game. That they showed this thing off at E3 and it looked fucking terrible. It was on the heels of this really bad Avengers game, and somehow it's incredible. I don't know how this happened. I don't know what magic they worked, but that Guardians of the Galaxy game is quite fun, very enjoyable. The gameplay is maybe not the best thing I've ever played, but it's fine. It's a fine shooter thing. It's an 0451.
It's serviceable.
Yeah, it's an 0451 game. And yeah, despite literally everything working against it, they somehow made a really solid Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I don't want to like call it like a PS2 game, but it's more like a PS3 or 360 game. But I mean that in a very good way, in a very endearing way.
Right.
And yeah, just somehow a really good Guardians of the Galaxy game came out. I have no idea how that happened, and it's not necessarily the best game that is on this list of surprises, but I usually tend to rank these based on what has been the most surprising. Whereas
Mhm.
like liking a Metroid game from a bad studio is like, yeah, okay, that can happen. I like Metroids, but liking this weird third person squad shooter thing after a really bad Avengers game, pretty fucking surprising. And I think people should play that game.
Nah.
But with that, that's also reasonable. But with that, Ryan, what is a game you think people should play that was very surprising?
Forza 5. I was really surprised I liked it. I historically don't like those games. I keep trying them.
I was like, they're the same every time. How'd this one surprise you?
Oh, this one's in Mexico with
Okay,
my
well then maybe
wife.
I'm
Yeah, it's where you
surprised I
take your
liked
wife.
it. Yeah, maybe this time it clicked with me, but yeah,
Because you
I
got
really-
a wife now and it's in Mexico.
That's probably it.
Yeah, that's it.
But I don't know. I was surprised I played it and surprised I liked it. Maybe it was just the fact that they dropped it on Game Pass day one that made me interested. But I probably wouldn't have played it if I had to buy it or anything like that. But now I'm kind of like, oh shit, am I going to buy Forza Horizon 6?
Like it's I think that the free Game Pass free like lends itself extremely well to Forza because it's one of those games that I think everyone can get in and like fuck around with and have an okay time. So
Mhm.
removing a price barrier to entry, I think just it helps that game in particular a lot. And this is gonna be for someone who fucking loves Forza, but
It's also with that kind of game, like those like open world driving things. What usually ends up happening is I'll do like a race and then I'll just fucking drive around forever.
yeah,
This one I've actually progressed a little bit more in the story and doing missions than I have in any of those kind of games in a long time. Usually I just get the one car I want and drive around for hours and that's it.
and that's part of what I think is so cool about the Horizon series. It's like I don't do the races, but I have hit every board, I've done every road event, and I've driven down every road in the entire game
Mhm.
because I just like cruising.
Yeah, and the cruising itself is fun.
Cruising USA.
Get your
But they
Dixie-
even, I
No,
think
that's
they
a
do
different
make
game.
the
Different
events
game,
and the
Jason.
races and all that
Same game.
stuff really fun.
yeah, like
So it's like I want to hop in and do those because I fundamentally like doing the racing stuff.
and it's like and between like the rally, the off-road, the street racing, it's like you can kind of whatever like subset of racing stuff you like doing, like there's something
Yeah,
there for
discovering
you.
ancient Aztec ruins.
Yeah, racing through fucking Aztec ruins. It's great.
It's my favorite race.
Racing two monster trucks down a volcano.
Yeah, of course. But
Huh.
good shit. I was very
You're just
surprised.
describing Mario Kart levels.
Yes.
And I think
Look,
as these games
yes.
get closer to Mario Kart, they
We're,
get
we're
better.
this close to getting a new Blur, damn it. Hunter,
Woo!
Yeah.
what is your number 2 Blur of 2021?
My number 2 blur is that there's a little company by the name of Atlas, and they hate the computer,
Oh.
but they're owned by a bigger but still little known company named Sega.
the
And
hedgehog people.
Yeah, the Sega the Hedgehog, and they like the computer. So Sega decided, you know what, Atlas, you're gonna port Persona 4 Golden to Steam, and you're gonna like it. And then I don't think they liked it, but they did it, and it made a shit ton of money for what is just a
it
straight
did.
Vita port. And just the fact that it's actually there, it's not, you're not just using like a Vita emulator or some bullshit. It's weird.
In my closet, there is a PlayStation TV with a single game in it, and it is Persona 4 Golden. And I have held on to it just in case I needed to play Persona 4.
I mean, that was 1/3 of the only good games on the Vita.
And unfortunately, Ryan made it even easier for me to play Persona by giving me a PS2 copy of the original. However, I'm very happy that they put that on PC. I like seeing people do mods and things with it. It gives me the chuckles. I would like them to put Persona 5 on PC as well. That would be cool.
Wait like 15 years.
Yeah, sure. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like weird that they did that, especially with only that one.
Don't worry, Persona 5 Strikers is coming to PC.
Oh yeah, the Switch one.
Soccer game.
Yeah.
They're probably I imagine
Sequel
they
to
did
Mega Man
Persona
Soccer.
4 because I think it's still the most popular one, or at least it's the one everybody knows. I don't know if Persona 5 sold more,
Five
but I
sold
feel like
really well.
Yeah,
So I'm-
5 is now the most popular, but I mean,
But
Four
four
was.
also,
Mhm.
a lot of people played that game.
they made like 8 spin-offs of 4 too. So
Yeah. So maybe it was just like to test the waters, and now they'll begrudgingly release the rest of them.
Like that's the thing. It's like I feel like that was maybe the easiest possible shot they could have done, but it's because like they're still selling Persona 5 Royal and shit.
Mhm.
But it's like who gives a fuck if they put out the Vita game? Like if anything, that's only going to make it more accessible.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm glad they did that.
finally, more people can see the awful new character.
Look, Marie's awesome, but also I think that the real lesson here isn't that like people want Persona games on PC. It's that I'm this close to getting an Uncharted Golden Abyss port to the PC.
I mean, Sony is
Jason.
port. God of War just came out
God
on
of War
PC
came
too.
out. Uncharted Golden Abyss. Make it happen.
Why do you want
Mark
Uncharted
said.
Golden Abyss?
It is the only other Vita game I could think of.
The rhymes
Okay.
of Golden Piss.
I'm sure there are other Vita exclusive, but those are the two that always stick out to me.
Muramasa.
Sure.
That's
Whatever
on
the
Wii.
fuck.
Yeah, but it's got more content and stuff.
Is
That's
it good?
only- I don't know.
Jason, what has more content in your number 2 slot?
Okay, my number 2 slot is a game we've talked a lot about and we will talk about more, but I was surprised by how much I liked It Takes Two.
Yeah.
So
I did not expect that game to be like as fun as it was, and like it was a big experiment playing like a 10+ hour co-op game with my wife who does not play video games at all. But it was pretty fun.
So
I was concerned about that one when it first came out, because Dash and I tried to do No Way Out
Yeah.
when that came out, and we didn't make it past like the first thing. Like we didn't even like start escaping.
I
And we played
have
for like
even-
less than an hour.
You didn't even find the way out.
I have
No, I think
legitimately
we-
never enjoyed a Haze Light game.
Mhm.
I think Joseph Fares is kind of an annoying cunt with his whole like on-screen personality. I have never liked a Haze Light game. So to have It Takes Two crack my top 5 games of the year is the biggest
Spoilers.
surprise. It is the biggest surprise of 2021. Because it's one thing for you to be like to do nothing and then make me like something, but to have me actively dislike your studio and your games and then win me over in such a strong way, It Takes Two, fucking hands down, the biggest surprise of the year. With like a weird co-op thing, like of
Yeah.
all things, like a 10 to 15 hour co-op experience in 2021.
That plays like a 3D platformer, like talking about stuff that feels like a PS2 game.
should not
Like,
exist. That game
No.
should not exist. But it somehow does. But Ryan, what is your number 1 most surprising?
Number 1, this is my this is my Mother 3 port, my Majora's Mask remaster, the thing that I've been wanting for so long.
Remastered.
Yeah, that I after waiting so long for it, I just kind of written it off. It's like, well, they did the fucking Dooms and they still haven't released this Quake remaster.
Acknowledge Quake.
Yeah. They acknowledge it by going like, we're doing a hero shooter. And I'm just like, oh, I
Round-headed
guess.
stepchild.
Yeah. I feel like Quake was just going to be one of those things that I was never going to, get an easily accessible copy on a console or the remaster of it. And they did it and they released it. They released like the day they announced it, right?
Yeah, they shadow dropped it.
Yeah. And it was
So, like, double
and it kicks
surprise.
ass. Yeah. So it was just like everything about that one day. Plus Dash, you were here. So we both just
Yeah, I was like looking at my phone. It's like, oh shit, they just put out a Quake on Game Pass. Like, what the fuck?
I was like, what?
You can't see it on my list here, but if there was a number 4, Quake would be on number 4. Both for being a shadow drop, as also being like, why the fuck would they do Quake? What the fuck? Who's that for?
It's for a lot of people. I'm just surprised, like they did all that stuff with like putting the Dooms out, and then it seemed like they were just not gonna do anything ever with Quake.
So do they do Wolfenstein now?
I don't know. Maybe they put the fully playable version of Wolfenstein in every
'Cause Wolfenstein sucks.
Wolfenstein things. Yeah. Oh,
I was
Wolfenstein's
gonna
not
say,
good.
wasn't Wolfenstein 3D fully playable in both Wolfenstein New Order and New
Yeah.
Colossus?
Yeah.
And it still
Probably
sucks.
even in Youngblood too. Probably in old. Like it's in all of them, and it's never good. So I'd be fine if they didn't do that one.
But Hunter, what is something that you are happy they did do?
My number one is I did
Burger
not.
King foot lettuce.
Burger King foot lettuce tweet of the week.
I talked a little bit about this in one of our previous things, but I had heard nothing about this game until I just saw a little bit of it. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll try it. And it was Ender Lilies, and just the fact that it turned out was good. Like
I think you might have sold me on Ender Lilies at this point. I think
Like-
I wanna fuck with that.
the biggest problem I'd say is it has is like the damage is a little fucky, but like I get the story reason why some of the enemies do so much fucking damage, because you're just like, you're a fucking little girl. Getting hit by a hammer is gonna hurt.
No,
Yeah, no, if you hit me with a hammer, like I'm gonna be down.
no, I'm gonna take it. I'm not a
Oh.
little girl.
Okay.
My
Okay.
eyes will tear up, but I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah.
That is on all of the platforms. I might
Yeah, it's on fucking everything.
I might fuck with that. I'm kind of needing something to play right now. Maybe I'll fuck with that.
One thing I forgot, I remembered it after we finished recording, but with the visual part is that the experience is called Blight. The whole thing is that she's a white priestess. She absorbs blight from people, and as you level up, like unless you suck shit at the game, you're gonna level up for the first time by killing the first boss. And then as you get higher and higher levels, like her form becomes more and more corrupted because of how much blight she's taking in. So like when you first start, pure white hair, pure white dress, stuff like that. But when you gain that first level, part of her hair turns like a dark red. And it just progresses and shit like that.
Oh,
As
so
you level up.
it's a shitty Hellblade ripoff.
No, it's a Shadow of the Colossus ripoff.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Now I might fuck with that. Because I think it's like what, $25 list.
Yeah, it's not very expensive.
Yeah, like I may go fuck with that actually. I think you've convinced me on it. I'm at least like I'm at least curious about it.
And like use spirits to attack, and there's a lot of fucking different spirits.
I also have literally never heard of that game from anyone other than you, so that also makes me curious about it.
Yeah.
But Jason, what is a game I have probably heard about from someone other
You've
than you? And you're number one.
You've definitely heard of this game. So my number one is, it's a game from a series I've never played before, and I've only recently, in the last, I think, 2 years, dabbled in the genre. But it's Metroid Dread.
Yeah.
I
did it.
downloaded it. I downloaded it kind of on a whim, like a month ago, because I didn't have enough games for Game of the Year, and I wanted to get in some more games to feel like I could really participate. And it definitely it pulled me in pretty quickly. I mean, I have my complaints. I think the Emmys are kind of tedious. I don't think there needed to be as many of them as they are, but overall, I mean, I was surprised that I enjoyed the game as much as I did, because I have no nostalgia for it. I have no connection to that series. I've literally never played any of them. I think I played about 5 minutes of Metroid Prime, which is just not even like the same thing.
Yeah, it's like a whole different thing.
And I literally
exactly
booted up
the
like
same.
I booted like a few minutes of that like 5 or 10 years ago on a GameCube. But other than that, I've never touched a Metroid. I don't know anything about the history of it. I've still at this point probably controlled that character more in Smash Bros than I have in a Metroid game. But no, it was pretty fun. I was happily surprised, but from the way you guys talk about it, I should never play any of the other ones, because I guess it's all downhill from here.
There's two others that are still worthwhile, but it is absolutely downhill from here.
Yeah.
I like Zero Mission a lot, but Dread is better. Metroid Dread is like straight up. It's not the best Metroidvania I've ever played, but it's probably top 5, if not top 3.
If not top 2, if not top 1.
It's not top 1.
If not
Let's be
top
fucking
0.
reasonable here. It's not top 1. Don't get it twisted. But I'm really glad that you've enjoyed Dread. I also like that you've given credence to my theory that you could completely play this as your first Metroid, and it would be completely fine.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that hard. I mean, I know, like, I mean, I haven't finished it, but I think I'm fairly close.
It does that shit where it's like
I have maybe a couple hours of it. I think I have like 2 or 3 bosses left because with most video games, I usually like look up a list of the bosses just to like track my progress if they don't have a percentage thing. So that one, I think I have like 2 or 3 bosses left before I finish it.
It's that thing of like I'm hesitant about it because I don't know. It's like, do I know to do these things because I'm entrenched in this franchise, or is it because this game is well like designed, or like they've actually made this well?
Yeah,
when I'm this deep in Metroid, it's like I can't tell anymore.
I definitely got lost a couple times and got pretty pissed off because I was just like stuck in a fairly small area for like 30 minutes. And then I was like, oh, there's like a tiny little spot down there where I need to turn into a ball and then place a bomb, and it pops a hole in something that I wouldn't see otherwise.
Oh, just crawl.
So like a few of those have been annoying. But overall, it's pretty fun. And I mean, it's only the 3rd Metroidvania I've ever played. So I don't know. I don't have a huge amount of experience, and I still didn't feel too like lost in it.
Yeah, when they're well designed, like it's good.
It like you should feel lost, but it's like there's a difference between like frustrated lost and then like it's a really tough needle to thread. And I think
I would honestly say of the few Metroidvania that I've played, it's probably the most linear feeling.
Oh yeah,
It's probably also the most Metroid.
Verge is way like harder to follow.
I still have never finished Axiom Verge 1, and I got lost a lot in that game.
Like,
and that's why I stopped playing it, because I was lost for a good 2 or 3 hours and didn't make any progress, and I just stopped playing it. Which is a bummer because I really, really enjoyed that game.
I won't replay that game because I think that it's a mess to navigate, but I do like it. But that's going to bring us to a close for biggest surprise. Shout outs to Unpacking, Pokemon Unite, and that Quake port. But with that, I certainly hope everyone will join us next time for our only real downer category of the year, and it is biggest letdown. So we will see you then.